It's the season ending. You know, no matter how your season ends, it's always abrupt. But you know, obviously we had really big hopes for today and for this tournament, and our guys felt like coming off of Sunday, we had an opportunity that we wanted to grab hold of. We're just one play away today, and that's what makes it even harder to take.
You mentioned the change in aggressiveness in the second half. Why do you think that happened? I mean, was it just their experience or what?
Yeah, I thought Nevada did a great job of getting out of transition and attacking. We came out of a timeout, I think it was when we were up 14. Kendall Stevens got loose, hit a three. They just had that look in their eye of aggressiveness and coming at us, and we were on our heels too much. We tried to flip it. We tried to encourage the guys to understand we got to get back to being a more aggressive team, but we didn't do it consistently enough.
How do you kind of evaluate this year, given everything you guys have gone through?
I mean, I'll do that as we go here. This game is so, we're so raw, obviously, from this game. So you always want to allow there to be a little bit of space, at least, before you do any type of big evaluation. But, one thing I'll say is we played in so many close games. And, as a coach, and I think even to some extent as a player, the losses, they hurt more than the wins feel good. But we didn't lose all the close games. We won some of them. We lost some of them. And I think what that means is we were really close to being able to advance in a game like today, being able to finish higher in the standings in the Big 12. But also we were close to not doing as well. So, you can look at that either way. We choose to look at it because we have a young team as something that we can grow from.
Is there something about these guys that gives you confidence in all of them moving forward? Is there something they showed you this year that really gives you?
Well, they showed a lot of resilience. They showed a lot of fight. There's a lot of times this year where we got hit with situations where they could have felt sorry for themselves or splintered apart. They really didn't do that all year. Now, with their games or with their plays where we needed to be better, where we needed to fight even harder, or to counteract what the other team is doing even more, yes. But I do know that there's a lot of guys in that locker room that can take a lot of lessons from this season and can grow from them and can get better. And they're hurting. I mean, they really are. I mean, I don't know if I've ever been this devastated after a loss. We've had some tough ones, especially at the end of the year. But we have to be big boys, and we have to understand that there's an opportunity to learn and grow, and everyone's going to need to move forward.
What lesson can you take out of this season, Shaka, as a coach?
Well, I think one lesson is, just never stop breathing life into the guys and never stop encouraging them to respond. I think our response 95% of the time was really good. We actually were better, much better, when we were in a situation of adversity that we had to respond to. This team's got to learn how to play with the lead. This team's got to learn how to play coming off of a win, coming off of a couple wins. We've got to get better at that. And obviously that starts with me as a coach and finding a way to push the right buttons to have the guys in an ideal mindset. Love you, man. Love you. It's forever, man.
Shaka, what can you say about the way Matt and Coleman played today?
Those guys battled. I mean, they really fought, and the way that Nevada was defending us, those guys were going to have a lot of opportunities. And I thought for the parts of the game where they were really aggressive, they were terrific. There was a stretch there in the second half where we got a little passive. We settled for some shots that we'd love to have back. But I think those guys played really well. And, since we've had Andrew out, since we've had Eric out, those guys have really needed to be at their best for us to even have a chance to win. And they gave us a chance today. We just didn't get enough stops down the stretch.
Shaka, when you know you have a one-and-done guy like Mo and to see the emotion in that moment, what does that tell you?
Mo cares. I mean, he could have checked out many, many times. You know, this is relatively common for guys that know that they're moving on. But he has been engaged in this team, even when he was hurt. He's led huddles. He wanted to come here and be a part of something special. Obviously, he wanted to help our team advance further than we did. So he's hurting right now. I'm hurting for him. I wanted to coach him more. I didn't want this to be the last time I coached him.
Is the devastation you talked about, is that a product of just what this season has been like for you guys?
Yeah, it's hard to describe, you know, how I feel right now beyond just that word, because it is. I think I'll probably go back to the hotel and, you know, it all hit me. It's been a lot this year, you know, and we try to hang in there. We try to focus on the guys around us. I think we've done a pretty good job of that, but at the same time, we've taken some punches, and today was definitely a gut punch. But in life, you can't waste any time feeling sorry for yourself or getting down. You got to focus on the people around you. You got to focus on the next most important thing. So that's what I'll do.
Chuck, is that what makes this year so different? I mean, last year was just about losses. You know, this year had so much more than just, you know, W's and L's to it. I mean, is that what makes this year so complicated?
It was just a year unlike any other in terms of the twists and turns we've been through. And, you know, I really give guys a lot of credit. They've had to kind of reinvent what they're about on the court and who's speaking up and who's taking the lead a couple times this year. And, you know, everyone in our program, you know, really cares so much about Andrew, and you want to win for him. But at the same time, it happened today. When that game ends, it's like you think about him, and I'll be honest, the other person I thought about was Augie when that game ended. But that's life, you know, it's reality. And this season has provided so many learning experiences for our guys. You know, it's raw right now. We lost, and that's really all we're feeling. But there's going to be so much opportunity to take the things that happened today, the things that happened in the vast majority of our games, and learn from them.
4 or 5 more minutes.
When this does eventually, you know, pass, and it could linger for a while, but when you do get into that kind of self-assessment mode about the season, about you, about the program, are there any areas you know that you're going to really assess, you know, directly about, you know, how to get things over the hump per se?
Yeah, there are. I think probably the biggest area is we were so good at responding to adversity this year, but we have to be better at handling when things are going our way, when we win a game, or even in a game like today, when we're playing well. I think, and obviously this is something we talk about a lot as coaches, and that we need to do a better job of with our team. Sometimes we got a little too high, just from the standpoint of, wow, that was great what we just did, but got to do what's next. Obviously, within a game, and then coming off of a win or coming off of a good game. And it's not that we played bad. I mean, we forget who it was. We had a big win, and then we went on the road to Texas Tech and almost went and got a huge one, but we didn't. You know, and you got to find a way. And you can look at these games. Sometimes it's a matter of focus, maybe on a free throw, on a defensive assignment. And that's a challenge for young guys a lot. You know, that's a challenge for the Jerichos and the JYs, and even the Matts, as mature as he is. Sometimes it's a matter of just digging down a little bit deeper. But that's definitely the first thing that comes to my mind.
Kerwin said he didn't want to talk about his future in there, which is understandable. But you do expect him to test the waters, and if he gets invited to Chicago and all that, for him to do that.
I think Snoop had a terrific year. I think he made progress in so many areas. I know he cares about his teammates. He loves Texas. He's grown a lot from the experiences he's had. Whatever he decides to do with the support of his family, he'll have the support of me and our coaching staff too. He's been terrific. He's sacrificed a lot this year. He's played the vast majority of the conference season with a broken hand. Even when he came back, it wasn't all the way healed. And I just want to make it clear, I really appreciate the way that he battled and fought. So regardless of what he does, we're behind him. And, you know, he's a guy that we appreciate a great deal.
You mentioned after Sunday, you know, the standards of Texas.
Yeah.
What would your message be to the fans about where the program is right now, where it's heading?
Well, I think we took a big step this year, but obviously we have a long way to go to where we want to be. You know, we want to be winning games like today and moving on to games like Sunday, you know, going to the next weekend. That's where we expect to be. That's where we want to be. And we were a long, long way away from that last year. Doesn't feel that way right now in this second, but we were close. We were close to that this year. You know, we can pick out a handful of plays, and maybe our seed is different, and you know, maybe today goes different. Obviously, we could have won today, but we didn't. And so I think really that's the next step for us is, you know, we can't dwell on could have. We've got to find a way to make it happen. In terms of message to the fans, we're gonna work harder than ever. We're gonna breathe a ton of life into a lot of young guys that have a chance to take a big jump for our team. I think Jericho Sims is a great example. He's got a chance to be a phenomenal player at Texas. He's got a lot of areas where he needs to grow, and we're going to dive into that head first as soon as we get done with our mandatory off time.
How badly do y'all need that off time right now?
Well, the guys need it. I mean, we got some guys that are banged up, and the guys really have demonstrated a level of fight and almost refuse to admit when they're tired, when they're banged up, but they really are. Snoop, Matt Coleman, Mo's not 100%. I mean, he battled just for him to want to play today and want to fight through. Dylan, those guys didn't come out. They didn't come out, like not just today, but you know, the last several games. So, yeah, they need it, but they were going to find the energy to play as long as we were able to play. And that's what is so devastating about today is if we'd find a way to get that stop at the end of regulation, they would have found the energy to be at a high level on Sunday. But you've got to do what it takes to get to Sunday, and we were one play away from that.
Amongst those young players that are foundation pieces, how big is it to have a guy like Matt that, you know, while everything was kind of messy at times, he seemed like on his face, he totally embraced everything that was going on.
He's the rock. He's the rock. And he's a winner. I mean, he was so unbelievably upset in there because that's all he really wants to do is win. And so he had his ups and downs this year like any other freshman. He had his humbling moments. We went up to West Virginia and he got flat out humbled. You know, we went to Texas Tech and, you know, he missed 3 free throws in that crucial situation. But, man, he responded really well. And, man, he was terrific down the stretch for us in these games where he really wasn't able to come out. So I think he's a cornerstone moving forward. But, again, we cannot assume. We've learned this lesson. We can't assume that a really good freshman year leads to you know, being the player of the year in the league or being first team all conference. There's steps that need to be taken for Matt Coleman, for everyone in our program. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm going to fight for all off season long is that our guys don't make any assumptions about what's next. Whatever's next, we have to make happen.